بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. اللهم علمنا ما ينفعنا وانفعنا بما علمتنا وزدنا علما يا ذا الجلال والإكرام. آمين. Dear respected brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. So my session for today, this session would be on Islamization of knowledge. This subject is actually started being offered by our Kulliyah, Islamic Revealed Knowledge and Human Sciences, about 3 years ago. يعني بدأنا في تدريس هذه المادة منذ 3 سنوات لطلاب معارف الوحي والعلوم الإنسانية. With you, you have the course outline. By the way, the code has been upgraded to 8200. It has been upgraded. So instead of 7211 when we started, but now it's actually 8200A. And this subject is offered in Arabic. هذه المادة ندرسها باللغة العربية. So as you can see, the course outline, page 3, the topics, the main topics. So we start with some historical issues, origin, development, and background of Islamization of knowledge. Then we have some philosophical issues, philosophy of Islamization of knowledge, critique of modern and traditional education methods and systems. Then we have models of Islamization of knowledge. We have Sayyid Muhammad Naqib al-Attas, Ismail Raja al-Faruqi, we have Fazlur Rahman. Then we have concepts and issues. So we talk about the process, the scope of Islamization, a new approach towards reforming contemporary knowledge, towards an Islamic alternative in thought and knowledge. The next main topic is methodological issues. So we have revelation and reason, and we have reforming contemporary methods. Islamization of knowledge, a new methodology, the quest for an Islamic methodology. Then for discussions and there are a few issues that we can, for the last 5 weeks, is mostly presentations by students. So our students, each one has to write two papers, okay? One is about Islamization, issues and concepts. One is about contributions of a scholar. these are the last 5 weeks. So we give the students a chance, like about 2 months or more, to prepare this, each one, to prepare the 2 topics, okay, and then they have to present it, okay, they have to present it. One of the good things that we do not restrict to the names given in the course outline. Actually, we have also included more scholars, early scholars and contemporary scholars, including from Indonesia. We have Hamka also, and he's like, you know, for me, I ask usually these as Indonesian students if we have, you know, those who join the subject. So we ask them to explore the tafsir by Hamka, okay, Al-Azhar, right? Yes. So, and so we ask them to concentrate on the methodology of Ustaz Hamka in tafsir that is related to Khalqul Insan, the creation of man, is very interesting. So they just explore specific surahs and see the tafsir and how Al-Ustaz Hamka tackled those tafsir and related the Khalqul Insan also to the contemporary knowledge, and that is one of the main objectives of Islamization, because you know, because I joined UIA at the peak or time, or the golden time, at the time of Datu Abdul Hamid Abu Sulaiman, who is one of the founders of the Islamization of Triple IT and the Islamization, what we call it, program in this university. So he joined the I believe 83 or what, as early as when it started here, the Islamization, and until 1998. So I was around, alhamdulillah, at least about 4 or 5 years. We also, so this is one of the, as I said, one of the objectives. Some people were questioning and wondering, you know, okay, when you talk about human science, Islamization of human science, that is already understood. But what about Aslamatul Ulum al-Shar'iyya? What about Islamizing? Are you talking about Islamizing the Islamic studies? So no, that is then the, okay, comes the response, and the second objective of Islamization is actually, it's called relevantization. For the Islamic studies is to relevantization, and to make it relevant. Relevant, so like relevant to the contemporary issues, relevant to contemporary challenges, etc. So that's what it means, okay, simply when it comes to Islamic studies. Okay, so that's the one of the main objectives of Islamization. Maybe one of the major issues that we discuss in this subject, it's in the course outline. Actually, as you can see, even though it's the methodological issues, in the methodological issues. So in those 3 years, I've worked on one important issue, and that is source of knowledge when it comes to these issues. One of the main challenging is that I would like to share with you is source of knowledge in Islam. When it comes to source of knowledge in Islam, we are talking about integration of knowledge. So, by the way, this is a challenging issue because even among the, I had a discussion with some of the, like, Fathi Malkawi, Nizar Al-Ani, others. There are different views when it comes to source of knowledge. Like Fathi Malkawi and Sheikh Taha Jabir Al-Alwani, also one of the founders of the IIIT and this Islamization program or project, we might call. So, as for Sheikh Taha, he said, we have Al-Kitab al-Mastur wal-Kitab al-Mandur. So allow me, because many of the participants asked to use Arabic as well as English. So he says, Al-Kitab al-Mandur wal-Kitab al-Mastur. So Al-Kitab al-Mandur, which is Al-Quran, okay, or is relating to Al-Wahi, because we have a Sunnah Nabawiyah, a Sahiha as well, Sunnatul Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. So Al-Wahi or revelation. So, and then we have Al-Kitab al-Mandur, that is Al-Kawn, the universe. But this refers to a number of issues, maybe including the what we call it experiment. You know, like observation and experiment, and we have induction, so that usually this is especially in social science and applied sciences, both socials. We are talking about applied sciences and social sciences. So we are talking about the universe as a source of knowledge. While Al-Ustad Fathi Al-Malkawi, he says that the main, in his book, he has a book on methodology or what? Manhajiyat At-Takamul Al-Ma'rifi, the methodology of integration of knowledge. And in English, I believe it's epistemological, it's more on epistemology, I believe. But it has been translated into Arabic. I have both, those who are interested, I have both copies, PDF in English and Arabic, if you are interested. It's an interesting book, where he said that the main sources of knowledge actually the al-wahi wal-aql. Okay, so revelation and reason. But the others are actually more to alat, means like ways or methods or that help us to deal with the issues. It's not only my view, by the way. This is something that we can have also for discussion. For sources of knowledge, when we go back to our heritage, it's actually not only two. It's not only the aql and the wahi. So for sure we have al-hiss, senses as source of knowledge. So these are three. Then we have at-tajriba, experiment. Okay, number 4. Number 5, al-wujdan or al-qalb. So like we are talking about also insight. We are talking about inspiration. We are talking about the role of the heart. By the way, I have published a paper. I'm so concerned with those issues. The role of the heart in thinking, and for sure in as a source of knowledge. Okay, the heart. Actually, if we go to the Quran attributes thinking to the heart. It's so amazing that it attributes thinking to the heart. When you talk about contemplation, Ustaz Malik Badri has written a book on that. Contemplation, at-ta'ammul, is actually related to the heart. Mansha'ul afkar, by the way, the ideas, when you talk about generating ideas, generating thoughts, is actually not in the mind. It's in the heart. Okay, which goes along with the Quranic perspective. So and now we have more and more studies on intuitive thinking. So intuitive thinking is actually related to the heart. Intuitive thinking. Sufis, they call it al-kashf. Okay, so whether it's unfortunate that in the Islamic history, I think the Islamic madhab and thoughts, they were divided into when it comes to source of knowledge. So like Mu'tazilite, they focused more on aqal, reason, while like the Sufis focused more on kashf and wijdan, the heart. Okay, while so like, well, we have then the Maturidi and the Ash'arite, they try to maybe to combine the wahi and the aqal. Okay, so and it's a long debate. I'm not going to get into the philosophical rather than issue, but rather than when we talk about source of knowledge. Now, by the way, they no longer talk about the logic, rather than they talk about critical thinking. Okay, critical thinking. When we talk about critical thinking, so now the Delphi group, we have the Delphi group in United States. They focused on 5. Now they talk about skills, maharat. Okay, so when it comes to critical thinking, reason, we're talking about al-maharat. So they said the most important 5 maharat or skills. Number 1 is deduction, induction, so al-istidlal, wal-istiqra. We have wal-istintaj. So we have at-tahlil, analyzing. Okay, analyzing. We have also they also add comparison and contrast. And then we have at-taqyim or taqwim. and that is we talk about criticism, we talk about evaluation. We talk about evaluation. So these are the most important skills that we need when it comes to aql. Okay. Now it's being improved and made more related to let's say research. So like our students, we are teaching critical thinking as a subject also, one of the subjects that we teach. We have creative thinking, that's one subject for undergraduate, and we have another subject is critical thinking. Okay. When it comes now to intuitive thinking and the role of the heart, now they talk about skills also. What are the skills that we need for intuitive thinking? So in order to be inspired, so like we teach our students also based on, so they both Western and Islamic perspectives. Okay, so like we talk even about places of inspiration. So like some scholars, they get inspired while traveling to Hajj. We have two cases. Ibn al-Qayyim in the early Islamic, about 800 years, and then we have a Sheikh al-Shanqiti, الرحلة إلى بلد الله الحرام, Sheikh Muhammad al-Amin al-Shanqiti. So he wrote his book. It took him about 2 months, the trip to go from his hometown, from Shanqit, Mauritania, right? So to Mecca and Medina. So it took him 2 months. He came up with this book. This book, الرحلة إلى بلد الله الحرام, he resolved, he said that the most complicated issues in mantiq, in usul fiqh, in tafsir, in fiqh, and many other disciplines, Islamic disciplines. So, mashallah, the book, I have the book, is very amazing. Okay, so the time for being inspired. Okay, like so that he's a Maliki, coming from a Maliki background. We have a scholar, many students don't know the story. We from Hanafi school, he was imprisoned for 10 years in a well, inside a well, you know, for 10 years. 10 years. During those 10 years, you know, he wrote a book, 30 volumes, 30, inside the well. So, if you ask me how he came about this, there is a story. His students, they used to come and visit him every day from morning until Maghrib. So like for two purposes. Actually, one, that he will not feel lonely. Number two is for ilmu. So he explained one of the fiqh book in Hanafi madhab during those 10 years, and it came up with 30 volumes. That's what we have in the library today. So we have a third example, and that is Ibn Khaldun, by the way, who's also he's an Islamic scholar, but also he came up with some, they call it anthropology, Islamic anthropology, and Islamic history, or the science of Islamic history, rather than. So his book Al-Muqaddimah, he wrote it inside a palace. Okay, inside a palace. Then came one of our professors in anthropology department, say, you know, loneliness as a source of creativity. Okay, because those cases, like when you take, is it because of loneliness? Allahu alam. Maybe because those scholars can be taken as, so these are inspirations. When you talk about explaining a book, when you talk about fatwa, you talk about, you know, insights, you talk about, so you are talking about the heart. You are talking about inspiration. Okay, you are talking about intuitive thinking. Okay, so these are 5. Also, some scholars add al-fitra as a source of knowledge. Al-fitra, something, the natural disposition. Okay, maybe this is, it has to do with that we have been created by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to love what is good and what is truthful. Al-haq wal-khayr wal-fadila. And that we hate the opposite, the falsehood and the evil. So that's part of the fitrah. This can act also as a guidance, maybe power. It helps us to, there are even PhD theses on those issues, al-fitrah as a source of knowledge. Okay, so just to share with you, this is one of the, by the way, of the main topics that integration of knowledge cannot be achieved without the integration of sources of knowledge. That's also my view, that we need to integrate all these sources of knowledge. Okay, so some scholars say, number one, for sure, we need some principles to guide our dealing with those sources. So like for sure that they say number one, al-wahyu, revelation is, has the supremacy, al-haymana. Even al-ustaz Taha Jabir al-Ilwani, rahimahullah, he stresses upon this issue, the supremacy of al-wahyu. That's number one. But number two, there is no, there should be no, what we call it, any clash between the sources of knowledge. If there is a clash, it can be resolved. There is no clash, you know. So if it seems there is a clash, then it can be resolved. Like if it's based on experiment, something clashes with the wahi or aql with wahi. Either the scholars said there are either two possibilities. There could be that the text is not definite. Let's say the Sharia text, the Quranic text or the Hadith text, maybe ليس قطعيا في الدلالة. Or it could be also, if it's a Hadith, maybe it's not authentic, maybe. But at the other hand, maybe something wrong with the experiment. Maybe something wrong with what we believe today maybe can be changed after, as you know, many issues we thought that for a long time that it is a fact. But actually, there come a time where it is no longer a fact. So, in this case, so we have to be open to the truth. Here comes the fitra, here comes the, many other. So we need to create a harmony. This is the main thing, to harmonize, to create a harmony between the sources. One thing, to create a harmony between the sources. One more issue, and maybe that would be enough for this one, that each source of knowledge has its domain. So scholars said, let's say for al-wahyu, al-ghaybu wa-tashri'. Okay? Al-ghayb. So like whatever is ghayb, that Muhammad Asad, this is very interesting to share with you. Muhammad Asad, it chooses, many interpreters, they interpreted al-ghayb as the unseen. But to me, it's very interesting. Muhammad Asad, he said, what is beyond the reach of the human mind? What is beyond the reach of the human perception? Okay? That's very interesting to me. So it's ghaib, to call it unseen is not enough. Okay? So anything that is related, let's say, al-jannatu wal-nar, and to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as the creator, these are all ghaib. So al-ghaib wa-tashri', when it comes to tashri', rulings and etc., this generally speaking, so it's the principles of tashri', we might call also. These are, we are guided by the wahi, by the Quran, by the Sunnah. Anyway, but then, like you cannot bring ghaib to the experiment, to the lab. So there are many other issues, the same. So like you cannot use one source for, or in a domain that is not relevant to the source. So to me that is one also, when I say to me this based on the research, these are some of the issues to be discussed. So we encourage our students that this also integrate all these sources of knowledge. All these sources of knowledge. We have a great, by the way, I had a great experience with Maurice in Singapore. So they came up with, like, they wanted to integrate mantiq and aqidah. So alhamdulillah, it took about 2 years. So why we take mantiq separate from, as a mantiq separate from aqidah. So we came up with a book now, alhamdulillah, is being used in the Tanawiyah, Madrasa Tanawiyah, Maurice. So this is as an integration, by the way, also. You can say also we integrated science, critical thinking or logic, and aqidah in one subject. So like, the students when they study aqidah, they also with relating to Habannak al-Maidani. So in his book Al-Aqidatul Islamiyah, he talks about senses as a source of, like he talks about al-mantiq and also senses as sources for iman billah, al-imanu billahi ta'ala. It's very interesting. So we use also some of the what he mentioned in his book Al-Aqidatul Islamiyya wa Ususuha, And then another book is ضوابط المعرفة. ضوابط المعرفة. It's a big book and it's available on internet. So also he actually integrated mantiq and, for your information, integrated mantiq and aqidah, or mantiq and, let's say, revelation. So like al-qadaya al-mantiqiyya, so he will provide examples from the Quran and Hadith for al-qadaya al-mantiqiyya. Okay? Let's say also in fallacies, he related to al-Quran and Hadith. I mean, in terms of, in the light, how do we understand fallacies in the light of Quran and okay, back to the, just sharing with you, in teaching this subject, I share with the students, actually not only at least the first week, okay, the first week, I share with the students the practical aspect of the Islamization. Islamization here, it talks about the intellectual. So we have the intellectual, or we can say the theoretical issue. And then we have the practical. So the practical issue, we are talking about the experience of UIA since 1983. How UIA integrated knowledge in its, let's say, kulliyas. Like now, students from Islamic revealed knowledge, they have to specialize, to minor in one major from human science. And the students from human science has to minor in one area of Islamic studies. They have to take 9 subjects, 27 credit hours. Okay, so that's the kulliyah, Islamic knowledge, Islamic revealed knowledge and human science. And then we have, like, I share with them, now we have the, alhamdulillah, IIBF. So like the Islamic banking, okay, the Islamic banking, we have a good experience now. So we have in Kulliyah of Laws, is maybe, I tell them, this is very interesting. You know, in all the world, if there is Kulliyah or faculty, they call it Faculty of Law. Only in UIA, it's called Faculty of Laws. You know, do you know this fact? No. So by the way, only in UIA is with S. Faculty of Kulliyah Ahmed Ibrahim of Laws. So the reason for that, why there is an S? Because the students have to study both the human-made law and the Islamic law. So like, okay, so it's integrated in nature. So the students, then when it comes to master and PhD, any study has to be based on integrated approach. It's based on integrated approach, Islamic and non-Islamic, human-made, Western, whatever you want to call it. Okay? So the students, when they graduate, they are aware of both sides or aspects of knowledge. I mean, in law, the Islamic Sharia law and the non-Islamic Sharia law, or non-Islamic law. So that's why we call it Kulliyah of Laws. And then we have, another thing is, we have the students from the applied sciences. Students who study applied sciences, engineering, architecture, now, and medicine, nursing, pharmacology or pharmacy, and any other allied health also. So they have to study. We started with 3 subjects. Now there are about 5 or 6, and some of them they can select. Okay, so the main 3 subjects. One is Islamic worldview, المنظور الإسلامي للكون. So we teach them the التوحيد, إيمان, المراتب الإيمان, and not only that, we add to that also the ideologies. Students should be aware about other ideologies. Okay, so like secularism and postmodernism and other ideologies. Not only that, we also teach them, one of the ideologies is about extremism. So we teach them about extremism, what causes extremism, and how it can be also avoided. Okay, what are the causes and what are the remedies? So that's number 1. Subject number 2 is Islam knowledge and civilization. Okay, it's a great subject also, Islam knowledge and civilization. So where Islam and knowledge, students can relate Islam to knowledge and knowledge to Islam. Usually they don't do that in secular education. And that's one of the purposes of Islamization and integration of knowledge, by the way. Number 3 is about ethics for everyday life. Okay, so where the students will study the ethics, professional ethics, So they learn many, and the fiqh, by the way, many contemporary fiqh issues, and ethical challenges, how they can be tackled from the Islamic perspective. So these are the courses from the practical. So this is from the practical side. Another thing for the practical side is now the IIIT is coming up with, for the last 3-4 years, the textbook. So we have now, mashallah, about 50 textbook. So you cannot teach like when it comes to human science or to many other sciences, you cannot, or let's say economy, banking. So without having a proper textbook that integrates the knowledge. That is another also area. A third area, which is going on since 1999 in UIA, is that every lecturer from Islamic revealed knowledge has to do a diploma in human sciences. I have done that. So I obtained in 2001. We have done it 1999, first batch. I am the graduate of the first batch. So we were requested to have or to do our diploma in human science. Professors in human science will teach us. So for 1 year, every Saturday from 9 to 1, we have to come to UIA for these classes, and there was even what you call it, research papers, and even like evaluation. Okay, so human science lecturers and applied sciences lecturers, they have to do a diploma in Islamic studies. So all the applied sciences, all the human science lecturers have to do. So this is a very important part when it comes to Islamization, by the way. So it's the practical aspect of the issue of the. Okay, we have many issues. So we without discrimination, and this is a good approach. We started with, as you can see in the models, you know, I'm just highlighting some of what you have in the course outline. So you have number one is Al-Attas. Even though there is a debate, the Islamization of knowledge, is it initiated by Al-Attas or by Triple IT? Okay, so I see it as a positive, one positive to me from UIA. It's a positive, I think gesture that we include Al-Ustad Al-Attas. He's a Malaysian scholar, philosopher. So actually we start with him. His contribution in education, by the way. And he's defending Al-Lugha Al-Arabiya, Lughatul Quran, mashallah, in his writings. So we include him as number one. What is his view on the issue of Islamization? Comparing the traditional, conventional education, that's one, as you know. We presented from two perspectives. One is from the perspective of the scholars and their writings, and we take it as an issue as well. Okay, let's say the difference between the conventional, traditional ta'lim, okay, ta'lim al-taqlidi, and al-ta'lim al-hadith. So ta'lim al-taqlidi more is to the Western perspective, by the way, and the Islamic perspective. Okay, so not to deny the contribution. Not only that, when it comes, well, that's what I tell my students, when it comes to individuals, we have many. So from Malaysia, it's not just Al-Attas. The second one is our Professor Muhammad Kamal Hassan. Okay, so we include him as one of, also, as I told you, not to be confined to the names mentioned in the course outline. His book, Voice of Islamic Moderation from the Malay World. Okay, it's a great book. And not only that, we ask our students also to refer to his, if you want, I have the slides. The urgency of Islamization and relevantization in teaching and research. In teaching and research. By the way, this was in it's about 40 slides. It's a PowerPoint, and I translated into Arabic also the main points. So he came up, Al-Ustaz Muhammad Kamal Hassan, Tansari Muhammad Kamal Hassan. He came with about 20 strategies. He's talking about practical strategies in the area of Islamization. So both his book and reading from his book, okay, because he's calling for the need of behavioral change. And one interesting chapter is chapter 11, the commitment to Islamic moderation mission of Islam by Muslim religious scholars and teachers in the secular state of Singapore. That's to me one of the interesting chapters. And we ask our students, by the way, there was a debate between there is a Singaporean Majlis of Al-Ulama, and they had a debate with the non-Muslims there in Singapore, and they came up pages 264, 265 until 267. 43, they said, let's say this debate, what is it that you have against Sharia, let's say, or Islam? So they came about 43. Okay, this is very important. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, only 5 out of the 43, the Majlis al-Ulama in Singapore, they objected. And they give why, or their objection. Like to embrace secularism. He said that one they objected to. Okay, focus on welfare social aspects, reject political Islam, accept liberalism, avoid Islam of the, this and that, the Salafi, the Wahhabi, the Shia, so anyway, these are some of the Ustaz Professor Kamal Hassan. He give his comments on those 5 issues out of 43. The other, how many? When you say 5, so the other 38, he said, we accept. So 38 issues, they accepted. They said, this goes along with our deen, with our religion. Anyway, so we take Al-Ustaz Kamal Hassan as also an expert in Islamization from the Malay world. So we take Hamka from Indonesia, and we take Al-Ustad Kamal Hassan from Malaysia, and Al-Ustad Al-Attas. Then we take also others, we have Fazlur Rahman, we have other professors and philosophers as well. In terms of writings, this is to share with you, I have some writings from my students. I even brought with me. If there is any question later on, we ask them also to explore the contribution of other scholars. Okay, so like from Yemen, we have a Sheikh al-Zandani, we have a Sheikh Muhammad al-Bar. Muhammad al-Bar. He wrote about At-Tibb al-Nabawi. And okay, so we have Al-Ustad Zaghlul al-Najjar from Egypt. He wrote 6 books, I believe, from on Al-Falak. Okay, Falak, we talk about astronomy. So from Islamic perspective, like in the Quran and I'jaz al-Quran. So we have also an Ustaz, not to forget Dr. Mustafa Mahmoud. Those who of my age, we actually, rahimahullah, his contributions. There are many videos that you can, since that was black and white at the early, in the 60s, 50s and 60s. No, 60s, in 60s. So it's about al-iman al-ilm wal-iman. Al-ilm wal-iman. And he wrote many books. He's a tabib. he's a doctor, medical, the same like Muhammad al-Bab. But so from each country, actually, we share or we ask our students. One of the great contributions is from Oman, Dr. Kahlan Al-Kharousi, the Deputy Minister of Waqf, Fatwa, Deputy Mufti. So he has great series when it comes to IT, Islam and IT. Some of them are available online. Anyway, so I asked the students, you can explore any contributions of Muslims, contemporary Muslim scholars in the area of Islamization. So we encourage them. We have, alhamdulillah, plenty of writings. We have Abdul Wahhab al-Masiri also, as well, a professor, rahimahullah, from Egypt. We have so many others that contributed to in the area of Islamization. Okay, so in terms of papers, we let it more open. You see, not to confine to the mentioned names in the course outline. So we ask the students to do any. So that's when it comes to individuals. But we tell them that triple IT maybe, I'm not from triple IT, but this is a fact. Institutionalized Islamization. When you talk about Islamization as an institution, as a, when it comes to, yes, so like institutionalizing the Islamization of knowledge. So it's triple IT. It's triple IT. So in this case, there is no, we don't have to go for debates, who's who, who's first. So as an idea, it's not because triple IT was what we call it, established in 1983. But actually, I give you many names of scholars. It's a long time ago, where when it comes to Ijazul Quran, when it comes to integration of knowledge, so even Abdul Wahab al-Masiri and others, who alhamdulillah contributed to the area of Islamization of knowledge. Okay, there are, maybe I want to maybe to share with you. There is one, I thought it's here. Actually, I asked my students, okay, here. Okay, I asked my students after we finish, so the last maybe one lecture, to tell me their view. We are talking about PhD students. So we asked them, so I have some of the views, maybe I wanted even to share it in the future with the triple IT, with Dr. Jamil, with Brother Shahran and others. What is their view, how they look at Islamization of knowledge. What they want, what are the pros and cons, what they want to add, what is their, let's say, suggestions. So I do have some, so I brought it with me also, if there is time, because we want to, what is the time? Now it's almost 12. So we want to have at least half an hour session, maybe Q&A, question and answer. So, but I'm just sharing with you what I have. So I brought with me even the views of PhD students on this issue. It's very interesting. not all the students came up with these views, but one of them last semester is from Oman, Abdullah al-Mahrouqi. It so happened he was he was placed, or he worked for a long time in the research, what do you call it? Is it Wazara? I'm not so sure whether it is a ministry or Wazarat al-Taqafa maybe. So they have one big unit for research. So this brother Abdullah, he worked with them for a long time. He has a good experience. So he wrote 2 papers. One is how he read. That's what I asked my students, encourage them. How they read the project, you know, the Islamization. And it's very interesting when you listen to them. And we should listen to them. And number 2 is their critique. Okay? Their critique to the project, the big project of Islamization. So we also, for sure, not when it comes to understanding and maybe comprehending, students have different levels, and only few of them, mashallah, who can go to the upper level where they can, you know, they can give you their view, their critique to the project. Okay? And by the way, I promise this is my final comment. One thing that we share with the students is, because it says the critique. The critique including the critique to the Islamization of knowledge project itself. So we have, I share with you, we have Al-Ustaz Nizar Al-Ali, who from Iraq, who was with us here. So he's from inside. He has written an article about the issue in Majallat al-Tajdid, 1998. It's very interesting. Okay? If you want to know some of his issues, I will leave it to the Q&A. And then we have, from Lebanon, we have Sari Hanafi. And his articles are available on the internet. Sari Hanafi, he's the head of the Department of Anthropology and Sociology in the American University of Beirut. Okay, I met him. He came to visit UAA. He's very interested in Islamization of knowledge. So he has written a very interesting paper, okay, but more of philosophical, okay. We have others like Abdullah Subayh from Saudi. Abdullah Subayh is, I have the papers, by the way, all these papers. It's about Ilm al-Nafs al-Islami. His paper is also available online. Ilm al-Nafs al-Islami. It's some kind of critique also. So these are a few examples that I added, by the way, to the course outline. So to be fair, so how the others look at Islamization, how others look at, because only through this we can see ourselves, we can, you know, improve in the future, inshallah. It's only through this we understand what are our strengths and what are our weaknesses. You know, in every project there are weaknesses. And some of those weaknesses, for your information, have been mentioned. I made it also compulsory to all students. There is an article by Abdul Hamid Abu Sulaiman on the future of Islamization. He wrote a paper, 39 pages, I do have the article, but it's in Arabic. So it's like more of the, okay, in the last decades, the Islamization of knowledge project, you have to get this into the picture. It slowed down. It went into a slowed down process. So in his paper, 39 pages, he explained why. One of the main issues is, as you know, is those what they call Arab Spring. One of the issues, the causing. So that's one of the, but then also he shared at the same time what happened during these last 10 years. Most of it were suggestions, but Alhamdulillah, I think where he concentrated on conferences, on approaching others, I think including, I think having you with us for these few days for the, so I think it's part of the strategies that were discussed in the paper of Datu Abdul Hamid Abu Sulaiman. Okay? Anyway, that's all I have to say, maybe, highlighting what we teach in Islamization of knowledge to our PhD students in Kulliyah of Islamic Revealed Knowledge and Human Sciences. So I stop here. Wabillahi tawfiq wal hidayah. Wa sallallahu ala nabiyyina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Thank you very much.
Yeah, we would like to thank Dr. Jamal Badi for his very informative speech. Now we will let the session be a question and answer session. Anybody who wish to question, please take the microphone in the middle.
Or comments.
Comments or additional comments.
Yes. Maybe something that we learn from them.
Yes.
We want to learn from you as much as you want to learn from us. So that's our way.
Yes, please take the mic.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. شكرا على محاضرتكم يا أستاذ. عندي سؤال هنا وليس ولا شيء مني أخبره لكم. عندي سؤال عن Islamization of knowledge. يعني أريد هنا ما الغاية الهدف الأساسي. أريد أن أعرف ما الهدف الأساسي من هذا الخطوط التي نسير عليها في Islamization of knowledge. I think the progress of Islamization of knowledge is if only in the meaning of the Occidentalism, or is as focused as the Westernism. As Westernism is, I mean that westernize us to the West, to the West, to the East. Just make them secularism and others. And I also want to know what is the meaning of Islamization of knowledge is to make Western civilization as like Muslim civilization and knowledge, and in the in other aspect of life, like Westernized do to the East. So I want to make sure about this. Is the Islamic civilization is meaning of Occidentalism in the meaning, and also the meaning of Islamic civilization is like Westernized do to the East. Thus we make West like the East in the civilization. I hope the answer from you, Mr. Thank you.
اوكي. الإجابة بالعربية ولا أحسن بالعربية؟ نعم. هو بالنسبة لمشروع إسلامية المعرفة كما تعلمون ولعلكم سمعتم، هو محاولة لما يسمى الدمج بين العلوم أو التكامل المعرفي. في الإسلام ليس لدينا خصام ولا فصام بين المعرفة والدين كما تعلمون. بالنسبة لما حدث في أوروبا وأمريكا وغيرها في الغرب، هو كان عندهم مشكلة بين العلم والدين، فالكنيسة حاولت أن تسيطر على كل شيء بما في ذلك العلم. نحن هذه المشكلة لا توجد عندنا في الإسلام، لكن نتيجة كما تعلمون سواء في إندونيسيا، في العالم العربي، في ماليزيا أو غيرها، في الستينات أو الستينيات، بل حتى في ممكن بالخمسينيات 1950s 1960s بدأ الابتعاث scholarships، يعني تحضير الماجستير والدكتوراه في العلوم ولا سيما مثلا في علوم الإنسانية. فعندما ذهبوا درسوا تلك العلوم من المنظور الغربي، فعندما جاءوا ورجعوا إلى البلاد جاءوا واحد من اثنين: إما أساتذة في الجامعات وإما صانعوا قرار policy makers. في الاثنين كان هناك مشكلة، وهو ماذا؟ فلذلك حصل في مصر وحصل في كثير من البلدان، وهذا بعد كذلك تزامن بعد الاحتلال colonization، وبعد ذلك نحن أخذنا الاستقلال independence. فحصل هناك مشكلة، وهو في العالم الإسلامي أننا حصل عندنا قريبا من أصبح ندرس العلوم الاجتماعية والإنسانية من المنظور بما فيها العلوم السياسية وعلوم اجتماعية وعلم الاتصال ميديا وغير ذلك، فندرسها من المنظور أصبح الغربي، وحتى النظريات هي نظريات غربية. فبالنسبة للأسلمة هناك عندنا بالمناسبة مدرستان في الأسلمة. مدرسة المعهد العالمي تقول نستفيد، لا نبدأ من الصفر في العلوم الاجتماعية، علوم السياسية، علم النفس، نبدأ من حيث هم وصلوا ثم نغربل. كما يقول أستاذ عرفان رحمه الله، هو كان ومن في الفلسفة أستاذ الفلسفة هنا في توفي، هو أستاذ الفلسفة، فقال أن الحضارة الإسلامية عندها القدرة على الاقتباس والتمثل، يعني بمعنى نستطيع أن نأخذ من الحضارات الأخرى. كما تعلمون من عهد عمر رضي الله عنه دون الدواوين وفعل كثير من الأشياء التي لم تكن موجودة في البلاد الإسلامية، وأخذ من الثقافات الأخرى. فالحضارة الإسلامية هي تستطيع أن تقتبس من الآخرين، لكن لها خاصية أنها تأخذ ما عند الآخرين ولكن ضمن إطارها المعرفي والقيمي، يعني based on our values and our Tawhidic approach. So we are talking about Tawhid and Iman, we are talking about عقيدة. فالمعهد قالوا نستفيد ونغربل ونضيف ونعدل. So we modify, we things that I think I like. There is one study by الجوهري، الأستاذ الجوهري، عندنا نسخة منها في المكتبة. There are 10 possibilities when one civilization or culture, comes in approach with another culture. when two cultures come together or nearby, there are many possibilities. So we have, among those, we have rejection, we have assimilation, acceptance and assimilation. So we have modification, so that is, he mentioned about 10 or more possibilities. فإذا الحضارة الإسلامية تأخذ من الحضارات الأخرى وتضيف عليها وتعدل، وهذا من خصائص الحضارة الإسلامية. نعم، عندنا مدرسة أخرى وهي مدرسة التأصيل، يقولون بدل من أسلم أو Islamization يسمون التأصيل الإسلامي للعلوم. ما معنى ذلك؟ وكأننا نبدأ من جديد وننظر للعلوم من المنظور الإسلامي. We study disciplines, of knowledge, areas, fields of knowledge, but from the Islamic perspective. It's like the other way around. إبراهيم رجب واحد من هؤلاء عنده مقالات موجودة by the way، هو من مصر ما شاء الله. عندنا أكثر عبد الله الصبيح الذي ذكرت لكم. فإذا والله أعلم لا يوجد هنا، نستطيع أن نستفيد من المدرستين. يعني لا مانع بعض علماءنا يعتنوا بالتأصيل. There is no clash actually. Some of our scholars and professors can establish like research work within different areas of knowledge. And some of our scholars can explore what the others have. And وأنا أخبركم هذا غدا عندي لقاء معكم 9. الحمد لله كتبت كتابين والآن قريبا الثالث بإذن الله. مثلا التفكير الإبداعي creative thinking from Islamic perspective or in Islam, concepts and issues. Triple IT sponsored the research, and it was, the second book was published last year, alhamdulillah, in 2018 January. And the third book, inshallah, is going to be Islam, the spirit of creativity, inshallah. Is going to be a textbook. Alhamdulillah, I'm working on the book, and inshallah in progress. So this is a namudaj. This is just an example of the Islamization of knowledge approach. Even though to me there are, as you will see, examine and what we call it, live the experience tomorrow, inshallah. Maybe it's a mixture of both, actually, a mixture of both approaches. التأصيل والدمج بين العلوم. فإذا الهدف هو كما ذكرتم سألتم، الهدف هو إعادة الروح الإسلامية للعلوم. يعني
وننشرها للعالم.
نعم،
وننشرها للعالم حتى يتفكروا، حتى الغرب يتفكروا كما على منظور الإسلامي كده.
نحن we don't impose it, but we share it with others. Alhamdulillah, now the books that is published by Triple IT, their way is like to examine it first within Southeast Asia, but in the future they are going to make it available worldwide. So by the way, for your information, so we share it, we share our knowledge, we don't have anything to hide, and we wish that others also can learn from us as well, as much as we learn from them. Yes.
واضح إن شاء الله.
بارك الله
فيك.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Auzubillahi minasyaitonirrajim. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wahlul 'uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli. Alhamdulillah, Prof. Your informative speech, Alhamdulillah, has enlightened us. So one thing I would like to share with you that in the Holy Quran, Allah Subhanahu wa Taala says, "Iqra wa rabbukal akram alladhi 'allama bil qalam." So here in this verse, Allah Subhanahu wa Taala says, you should read those books, or you should read those things which have been written by pen. It means that Allah Subhanahu wa Taala also taught these things to men. So here we should read two things: revelation, wahi. Another one is those books or those information which have been written by other human being. So here you said that Ahmed Ibrahim Khuli of laws. Here two categories of law which IIUM teach to the students. So here you said that Islamic law, another thing is non-Islamic law. But in our Islamic perspective, we know that all sources of knowledge is Allah. That one source. From one source, all information, all knowledge came. So here, the triple IT, Islamization of knowledge, they are just trying to relate that some part of human being, they have disconnected relation between God and human being. So here our main intention is to revive that relation, that connection, which is most important, that we have God, and that between human sciences and wahi, there should be a relation. So in this case, I would like to say that I think we should not say that this information is not Islamic, this ulum is not Islamic. We can say that human science or man-made laws, these things. Okay, thank you so much, Ustaz. Assalamu alaikum.
Jazakumullah khair. Please keep.
Thank you. The whole.
Please sit down. You can sit down.
Sit down, okay. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. I think the whole of us want to be health. Just now I hear about Aqibun Nabawi. I think it is very interesting for me. Now, many issues of health we are finding in the world. And then I think it is very, very interesting to combine about Aqibun Nabawi with WHO. Organization, health, what in the world?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Why we can do to combine? I think in Aqibun Nabawi, it is preventive, and I see in the WHO it is many problem. Nah, is it true, Prof? Professor in medical. Oh, yes, yes. We can ask to the Prof how we can do out of the problem. Now it is very interesting, I think. to explain to the whole of us. But now I think the whole of men want to be helped, not to many problem in the heart. I think so. Thank you.
I think it's an interesting area. Maybe I was the examiner of one one thesis, by the way, for in Department of Quran Sunnah. There was one thesis is about الطب النبوي في ضوء المختبرات العلمية. في ضوء المختبرات العلمية. This brother, he's examined not just to relate what has been mentioned by the Prophet ﷺ, as you mentioned, is preventative, as well as it's a cure, both. It's a cure and it's preventative. So if the problems come, then we can treat it. But at the same time, you see now, نصائح النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم في الصحة, it has been acknowledged by great medical professors from different. This morning is a new branch in medical. So this one Japanese professor, they mentioned the name. I got the message today. This kind of work is based on fasting, by the way, and the role of fasting in curing many, mashallah, diseases. But if a person keeps fasting according to the Sunnah, you know, like Ramadan and every Ithnain wa Khamis, and like, you know, the 3 days of the middle of the month of Hijri month, and let's say the other days, Shawwal, this, that, if you just follow the Sunnah. Okay, I share with you, there is one study, they said, there are some people, I know one of them at least, a real case study. He's in the middle 60 age, 65. By the way, he is free from any disease. Oh, alhamdulillah, I know him, he's a friend of mine. He has been interviewed. Why? What make you so, mashallah, you know, healthy? He said, since he was young, maybe college, or I don't know, high school or college, he always fast al-Ithnain wal-Khamis. Now, you know that keto, what they call keto, right? Ketone and keto diet. It's based, part of it is based on fasting. So you can see that there are many, what we call it, principles of health that is mentioned by the Prophet ﷺ, that we can take as principles, that we can even like make them as a maybe universal. Nobody will argue, you know. Now people are coming to what our Prophet has mentioned. Unfortunately, it should be the Muslims who should do the research. I know, I heard, I don't know the person, but I heard there is a specialist in Indonesia. They said there are only 4 in the whole world. He's specialized in microbacteria or what? Microbacteria or something like that. According to one of my friends, you know this man, he said, now there is even like a war of, microbic war, that that many of the new diseases that could be human-made. It's not something. It's not natural. Rather than it's the humans. There are certain people who are trying to bring those, including AIDS, Ebola, AIDS, and many others. They say. Okay. Anyway, this is a theory. There is a theory. So I believe that adhering to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam nasiha in health, I hope that our people in health maybe can come up with papers and research in those areas, work together with lecturers from Sharia and from others, so that we can come up with some kind of maybe I wouldn't say remedy, but system, that protect our young generation, that guide them and protect them from the, the many health challenges that we have. But since you mentioned At-Tibb al-Nabawi, this is one interesting thing that I maybe share with you. Al-Bar, he has a booklet. The Prophet ﷺ said, La adwa wa la qiyara. There is no such a thing as the contagious disease. Dr. Muhammad Al-Bar, he said in his book, what is the vaccine they take in Hajj, during Hajj? There is a meningitis. This meningitis, for your information, they found that, Dr. Muhammad Al-Bar, they said, if you have 1,000 cases affected, he said, there are 10,000, they got the virus, but the body was able to defend. 10,000, 1 to 10. So they said, he says, here is a great example. It's not just a matter of, contagious diseases or what. It's actually Allah protects. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we don't have to panic. We don't have to, it's Allah al-Hafid. But in other hadiths, the Prophet ﷺ advised us, he said, if there is a dangerous disease and it's contagious, okay, so the disease is not contagious because of itself. It's controlled by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So like there will be 10 people saved at the time where then we have one case affected. You can see Adamatullah, the greatness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So, but the Prophet also said, like some diseases, he said, إذا سمعتم بها في بلد فلا. What we have now, منظمة الصحة, the World Health Organization, like if what is this طاعون, typhoid. So like the Prophet said, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, if you cholera, yes, if you are in a place where it appears, don't travel, don't go outside, don't escape, because you might be carrying. And if you hear there is a place where this kind of disease exists, don't go to that country. Allahu Akbar, 1,440 years. And it was only in the time of Umar, most Muslims came to know about the hadith. Umar was the ruler, Amir al-Mu'minin, and he was going to Sham. So he heard about al-ta'un, cholera. So he asked the Sahaba with him, who heard anything from the Prophet regarding this? Then the one Sahabi mentioned this hadith. Then Umar said, let's go back to Medina. And there is one saying of Umar. One Sahabi said, "Atafirru min qadarillah." Are you escaping or running away from qadarullah? Umar said, "Nafirru min qadarillah ila qadarillah." So so that's a great, also, this is a great principle. Anyway, it's a big issue. Thank you, sister. We don't have time because I think the time is already over. So thank you. I believe this is in medicine. This is just one issue. That we can come up with many cluster projects, research projects, like from medicine and IRK together. I asked also from our kuliya. I what we call it, taught this diploma in Islamic studies for professors in kuliya of medicine. So I told them we need to also maybe have some research together on ulum al-qalb. It's so interesting. Some universities in the West, in America, they established the Department of Ulum al-Qalb, hard sciences. Now they study. I said it's a shame. Most Muslim countries in the universities, we don't have this Ulum al-Qalb. So
from spiritual, not from from spiritual aspect.
No. That Ulum al-Qalb now is more of like what is the role of the heart in science, and in science, in education, and many others. Yeah. الحلال بين والحرام بين. Yes. صلح الجسد كله فسد الجسد كله. نعم. Central. Yes, it is central. Yes. By the way, I teach based on our scholars' approach and Western approach. I have workshop on intuitive thinking skills. By the way, intuitive thinking skills. But we need 2.5 hours for that. That is al-habbatu sawda. Yes. Yes. Jazakumullahu khairan. Barakallahu fikum.
Thank you very much, Professor. So, thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. We have a lunch ready, inshallah. We have our lunch, and then we go for prayers, and then we can rest until, inshallah, this afternoon, Dr. Fatmir will come. Fatmir Sehu. Okay, thank you very much. Do you want to have a photo session with Dr. Jamal? Photo session.
Yeah, yes. Alaikum salam. Otherwise, I become jealous. How come you take photo with So where should we?
Yeah, it's over here. They will stand behind the chest.
No, but Ustaz.
Never mind, you are the main guest.
Please, Professor. Medicine, mashallah. I'm glad to meet you.
Gambar.
هذه يعني تفضل
U shape. It's not photography, photographies. خلاص الحمد لله.
شكرا جزيلا.
عفوا كثيرا. بارك الله فيكم. ان شاء الله في التاسعة ان شاء الله.